Do you ever have one of those moments when you just realize that you've achieved a lot of goals, but you've not achieved the goals that you would have loved to achieve? Or you've grown a lot, but not in the way you would have expected to? Or you've changed a lot and not in the kind of quality that you would have hoped to have had by now? Well, that was me in 2025, or rather, that is me in 2025, or that is who I am. Majorly because I grew. I did a lot of things. I achieved a lot of goals. I achieved a lot of things that I didn't think was going to be possible for me to. But at the same time, I'm still stuck in a way, or rather, I'm not at the place that I thought I would be. I know life is unpredictable and it changes and all that, but it was just, it doesn't hit as hard when you actually achieve the things you set out to achieve. Or should I say, it's just not as fulfilling or as satisfactory when you've not achieved all the goals that you wanted to achieve, but you achieved something else entirely. It kind of tells on you. It kind of makes you feel like I'm successful, but at the same time, I'm not successful. I was disciplined, but I thought I wasn't disciplined. That's the reality that I was facing. That was the realization that I came to meet, because 2025 is wrapping up. Everybody's locking in. I should be locking in as well. But the only problem I faced was I didn't achieve most of what I hoped to have achieved by 2025. So I'm really big on productivity, self-improvement, personal development, all that good stuff. So it wasn't difficult for me to just snap out of it and say, okay, it's time for us to make changes, it's time for me to improve, and it's time for me to lock in. Naturally, it's the end of 2025, right, in the last quarter, so there are a lot of content flying about the great locking, how to lock in, how to level up everywhere you go. And I've had so many of them scoffed, or rather shown down my throat from how many years back. And personally, I'm in that niche, so having to get that information from outsiders is helpful, at the same time it's destructive. So instead, I decided to make my own list, how I was going to work in 2025, at the end of 2025, and not particularly to achieve any goal, just to work on my discipline. Because at the beginning of 2025, I was disciplined with myself. I was much disciplined back then than I am right now. Discipline with my goals, discipline with achieving things, discipline with my personal development, and probably, let's just say, much more discipline in controlling my scrolling right then, back then, than I am right now. Right now, it's more like I can't even control my scrolling. I know it's a little bit because I stay in the office all day. I hardly have time to use my phone. And once I get home and I'm trying to relax, the next thing is to just go swiping, swiping. But I figured I can't keep on making those excuses, especially if I actually want to make progress in my life. So yes, the great locking of 2025, rather my great locking of 2025. I don't want to call it a locking because I'm not really locking in, or rather, according to the definition people do, it's more like I'm just trying to get myself realigned with the version of with my the version I want to be, or who I actually want to be. So now, how am I locking in? The first thing was to come to terms with the fact that I locked out. Funny. To come to the terms with the fact that I am not the person I want to be. That's like the first stage. Acceptance. You have to accept that, okay, I am somebody, but I'm not that person. I am her, but I'm not her. So that was the first stage. Acceptance. I had to accept the fact that, okay, I wanted to achieve these things, but I've not achieved them. So I have to check in with myself and be self accountable. So this is who we're supposed to have become by now, and we are nowhere near being that person. So that was the first step. The first step is very crucial because self-awareness is key. Self-awareness is not just limited to how you perceive yourself or how you see yourself or how you think others should see you. It goes deeper in knowing that this is your potential, and have you reached the potential or not, or are you meeting up to the potential or not? Can you do better than you currently are doing right now? That's what self-awareness is to me. And the next step was for me to identify those bad habits that I wanted to get rid of. The first one was pretty easy. I mean, scrolling. I've been scrolling a lot. It's so embarrassing to admit, but it's the truth. I've been scrolling so much on social media. I'm still not in the loop of trends, but I've been scrolling so much, and it's slightly irritating because I wouldn't know when 30 minutes or 1 hour have passed, and I've just been sitting immobile in one position, and then I'm waking up and I'm like, Ugh, I've been sitting on the phone for how many hours? And besides, data is way too expensive for me to be spending it. So yes, I have to identify the problem. The first thing was scrolling. The second thing was lack of discipline. Like I said, I used to be very disciplined. I will set out a list of things that I want to achieve for the day, my to-do list for the day, right? And I will go on to achieve everything. But it hasn't been the case for about 4 months now. That's another backstory of NYSC camp and the way it destabilized me. But that's just, I have to identify the problem, then work towards alleviating the problem. The next thing for me to do was to revisit my goals, because you might have it all in your head, but you really don't know what you actually plan to do, or when you go back to look at what you had written down back then. So I had to go back to the book that I wrote everything in. Okay, who did I say I want to become? What are the things I wanted to achieve? What are the things I have achieved out of this list? And what are the changes I'm going to make? Or rather, what steps am I going to take moving forward? So I had to revisit my goals. It was, I don't know how to put it, but looking at the goals you set for yourself at the beginning of the year and realizing that, wow, I didn't set these goals, is a little bit humbling, a little bit embarrassing, but at the same time it's a little bit empowering, because you just realize that if I had written down those things, then it definitely means I have the capacity and the potential to achieve those things, and I am going to achieve it regardless of what happens. So yes, I have to revisit my goals and then realign myself, or rather refamiliarize myself with the person I want to be. So that also included going on Pinterest. Scrolling on Pinterest is way more healthy than scrolling on Instagram. It's still scrolling, but so it included me going on Pinterest, searching out keywords that were relevant to each goal, and just soaking in all the images that I was seeing. Information overload, yes, but still. I had to soak in all the images that I was seeing and just come to terms with the fact that this is where I wanted to be, and I have to achieve this. I have to meet up to that person. It's just 3 months, October, November, and December. I might not be able to achieve everything in 3 months, but small progress is still progress, right? The next thing was for me to build a system. How did I build a system? So I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits. I really need to go back and read that book. I read it earlier this year. But a system is, let's say, the mechanism that you're going to use to achieve the goals that you want to have. So by building a system, I knew that scrolling time had to be cut out of my daily routine. If not, I won't be able to achieve the goals I want to achieve. So I'm not really very deeply knowledgeable about building a system, but I have to build a system. So let's get up early, let's start writing down our goals for the day, let's be consistent in what we are doing, let's focus on, I just had to be specific with what I wanted to do and put the things in place that would actually help me achieve it. So wake up early. Instead of my phone to be beside me when I'm sleeping, I have to put it like there on top of my stand, so that when I get down from bed I have to walk all the way there. It doesn't always work. The main problem it doesn't always work is that, one, I do not sleep early by default. Two, I do not sleep early by default. Three, I'm a 9 to 5 worker. It's a very, very bad combination to be a 9 to 5 worker and to not be able to sleep early. I don't know what it is, but I naturally can't sleep early. If it's not close to midnight or past midnight, I won't be able to sleep. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm feeling sleepy, but I've tried to sleep, I didn't sleep. So yeah, I had to build a system in place that will counter the bad habit that I had. And like now, scrolling is another issue, right? So what did I do? I reduced the app timer of the social media apps I have on my phone. Originally, the app timer for Instagram was 2 hours. I take it down to 1 hour 30 minutes. Alright, so it's 2 hours 30 minutes, or yeah, 2 hours 30 minutes. I take it down to 1 hour 30 minutes, because once I know that okay, I have limited time to spend on this app, and I want to be focused what I want to do, and I'm supposed to be using Instagram productively to be creating more content, but for some reason I've been consuming more content instead. But that's alright. I have to build a system and I have to stick with the system. That's the step I was following. The next step was for me to start with small changes and then build momentum. It didn't have to be something life changing. Working out is a little bit harder when you are trying to start after being lazy for a very long time. So instead of me to continue with the plan that I was on, I had to take myself back to the beginner level. I do Pilates, by the way, so I was already on intermediate plan. That was how consistent I was before. I had to go back to the beginner's plan, then start over, where the exercises are more friendly, softer, and are not they don't take too much time as the intermediate plan. So I had to make that small change. Another small change I had to make was trying to stick to my app time and my time limit on each of the apps. That's another change I had to make. I just had to keep on making these little changes all and over again that I'll stick to. Another issue was trying to get up early and trying to get out the door early for work. So I just went back to the way I was doing in secondary school. I'll set out my clothes for the day the night before. I always did these things. I just don't. Okay, I kind of know why I stopped, because I was just mentally destabilized a lot this year. So like I was just mentally destabilized. So having to get back to the way I used to act back in secondary school is a little bit freeing. It's a little bit strengthening and empowering. So I just kept on doing that. So yes, I had to start small, make little changes, tiny changes that I knew I'll be able to manage, and then build momentum from them going forward. I didn't have to check off every single thing on my list. Or like if I can just make it halfway through or quarter way through, that was fine by me. Or I'll write 3 things down instead of writing a whole page full of what I want to do for the day. Write just 3 things down, achieve one or two, and that was it. Then just I I denied myself, or rather I am denying myself the luxury of sticking to doing something in just one way, or rather just being comfortable with one way of doing things. So if I achieve one goal today, I have to go on and achieve two by the end of the week. I just have to keep on making a steady upward progress that is going to help me in the long run. And the last step is to not stop. Stopping is very cute. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for, comfortable. But I had to remind myself that, girl, if you want to make the progress that you want to make, if you want to achieve those goals that you set for yourself earlier in the year, you have to be respectful and don't stop. Respect your past self who set the goals, respect your future self who wants you to achieve these goals, and respect your present self who wants the change to happen. So yes, don't stop. And that's how I'm looking in the last quarter of 2025. And I don't know if you could find any of the tips helpful, but if you did, I'm glad you did. And if you didn't, maybe you have your own system in place, but that's fine. So just don't stay in one place. If you sense that there's something wrong with the way you are behaving, try to make the changes that would apply to you. We don't have to live life living in a cage or sticking to one way of doing things. We are meant to evolve and to grow. Sometimes you might slack off, but what matters most is that you pick yourself back up. And that's all I have to share about that topic. And I really hope I get to achieve everything. We never can tell what happens at the end of the year.